Thank you for joining today's training session on luxury travel market. As Karl Lagerfeld once said, luxury is the ease of a t-shirt in a very expensive dress. This shows that we can no longer really define luxury in terms of monetary value, and there's so many other factors that come into play, and that is in fashion and in travel and everything else. So just gonna get this started here. So luxury, the description of luxury is a state of exceptional comfort and extravagant living with great ease. So luxury travel is the fastest growing segment in our market in travel today with an 8.5% annual growth rate. It's the new $750 billion opportunity, and it can really mean and be many things to many people. And the one thing that it has in common is that among travel trends, it's seeing the highest growth in sales in Canada. So there's really been a dramatic change in how we define the concept of luxury travel over the past few years, largely due to the economic climate. The current climate has deepened the definition, making it much more multi-layered than it ever was. It's really pushed consumers away from conspicuous consumption and moved them more towards authentic, simple, and genuine experiences that incorporate elements of environmental awareness and social responsibility. So yeah, there's a traditional perception that will always hold true for some travelers, but more and more travelers are valuing the personal element experienced on their travels. And this begins from the preparation stages. So our job as a travel agent, the service they receive from us, and the people they meet and the memories that they return with. So luxury travel, we'll go into some myths, but it's way, way, way beyond business class, fancy dancy china and silver. And it can mean many things to many different people. So some facts and myths about luxury travel. So the first common myth is that luxury is simply crisp white sheets in an uber luxe city hotel. Oops. But one of the biggest myths is actually how we define it. So luxury travel is not solely defined by expensive furnishings of a hotel room situated on the top floor of a city-based hotel. So luxury travel is really about enriching the refinements with meaningful experiences and personalized interactions. So increasingly, we're seeing more and more luxury travelers who are as much, if not more, motivated by the experiences of a place at a destination as they are about that room and that they return to each evening. As an example, here's a beautiful little, I guess, over the water kind of bungalow, but it's not as fancy as what you'd see in Bora Bora. But this can still be defined as luxury for someone because of that experience. Myth number 2, luxury means it's travel at no cost. It's only for the rich and famous. You have to be ballers in order to afford luxury travel, but that's really, really not the truth at all. So a really popular misconception of luxury travel is that money is no object and the sky is the limit and there's no price too high for the sophisticated luxury traveler. So while by its very true nature, luxury travel involves a higher price tag than other forms of travel, it doesn't mean that there is no regard for cost. For some, price isn't really necessarily a consideration and the journey itself is the sole focus. But for many luxury travelers, price is not only considered, but is part of the decision-making process. So travelers are still conscious of how their money is being used and how the travel budget can be allocated towards certain activities or locations with the most importance to them. So luxury travel is in many cases a question of priorities and a question we ask our clients from the very beginning of, or we should be asking our clients, sorry, at the very beginning of the relationship. So myth number 3, luxury means a sanitized and clean experience of place. So it's the prim and proper luxury, feel like you can't touch anything kind of thing is the myth. But when it comes to luxury travel, forging real experiences such as this is taking precedence over exceedingly polished activities and tours that only scratch the surface. Luxury travelers are, as a group, are conscious of meaningful, unique, and fundamental special experiences. Much like its assumed luxury is crisp white sheets in a city hotel, it is similarly assumed luxury travelers only want highlight experiences. So over the years, um, it is showing that this is quite the contrary. Our clients, again, are looking for the real experiences of place for authenticity, cultural engagement. More and more luxury travelers are gravitating towards privileged access to people and places, as well as acquiring true knowledge. So you can see here, these people are forging through a forest, learning about something that this guide is telling them. So luxury just doesn't mean prim and proper. It can mean being out as well. And a funny, not funny story, but when I went and saw Ellen in Seattle, it was a, billionaire, private and celeb. Her luxury trip for her, I think it was her 60th birthday or 60th, is they went out and spent days soaking wet, they got soaking wet, pouring down rain in Uganda to see the gorillas. So it doesn't mean that it's always shiny and fancy and clean and prim and proper. So getting into that, myth number 4 is that luxury is all private jets, billionaires, and celebs. And this is something that I thought too. I had friends growing up in our 20s that married into this kind of demographic, and they did have private jets and stuff. And I just kind of assumed that that's what luxury travel was all about. But it's not just for celebrities and billionaires. So you would not to be remiss for thinking luxury travel is only for the A-listers of the world, because social media, that's what they tell us. They're showing our favorite celebrities sunbaking on far off islands or zipping around the world in their private jets. And it certainly gives that impression. But in truth, the luxury travel market is far more diverse than the billionaires and movie stars. Clients come from far and wide of all ages and interests. And you do see patterns and commonalities in many travelers' requests, but the market is really multifaceted. So young and old couples, multi-generational families, solo travelers and groups, luxury is not really exclusive to any type, quote unquote, of person. So, and another myth is, luxury is only for the grown-ups. It's only for those, matured and that have the income to be able to do that. But for the casual observer, it would appear luxury may not be for the little ones, but being far more appropriate for, say, a discerning couple. But this is not really necessarily the case. Family makes up a significant portion of clients in the luxury market, with the ability to create and handcrafted journeys for each individual family, children, and children that are not dragged along kicking and screaming to experiences suited to grown-ups. So luxury travel means that offerings are handcrafted and created to suit the family perfectly. And that's the key word, is handcrafted, to suit them perfectly. That can be included in the definition of luxury. Their interests, ages of children's, pace in which they like to travel, and even a few little, or sometimes not so little, surprises thrown in along the way. So that is kind of, the 5 major myths, probably of some of which you assumed too, and I did until I actually trained properly on this market. So, and Lori too. Lori and I were just chatting about it. She's like, I always assumed it was the Fairmonts and the W's and, the St. Regis hotels, but it's not. It's way beyond that. So the luxury travel global market size, so 8.5% annual growth rate every year. So in 2019, it's worth 5.2 million, I think that's what it is, or is that billion? And then it's supposed to grow right up into 8.46 million in 2024. So it's huge. Talk about bucket lists is what we mentioned. So luxury travel can also include these bucket list items. People all have bucket lists, and they vary from person to person and can be very small to very grandeur. But mainly in talking about bucket list travel, as it falls within the luxury market, people don't want to see, they want to participate. So they want experiences rich in creating memories, filling bucket lists. Material items aren't necessarily the thing. It's less defined by the thread count, like we talked about, prim and proper, and price tag. And it's access to people and places that represent all that is authentic about a destination. So luxury travel, 72% agree that they specifically look for travel experiences that will give them a new perspective on the world, which you can see here in various different photos and experiences, experiential travel. So let's talk a little bit about the market. Can anyone guess who is the luxury traveler? So the luxury traveler, according to research, is the baby boomer and Generation X, and we'll go into more of those in more detail. So baby boomers, I love this photo right here of them trying to take a selfie with their beers on a trailer. But baby boomers are traditionally aged between 51 and 69. They're traditionally higher number of visits or travel trips. They have a high disposable income and savings, and travel is the most preferred leisure activity for this group. The future outlook for baby boomers, CIBC estimates that $750 billion will be inherited by members of the baby boomer generation over the next decade. They have a very high, because of this, disposable income outlook on life that they want to experience the world. Okay. Baby boomers are decisive and confident travelers, and they're not tied to a budget. They still say it's a factor. They are influenced by ads and informative content, and have most of them, 56%, have already decided on a destination. They already know what they want to do. Top vacation types for baby boomers are visiting family, relaxing, and sightseeing as well. So marketing to baby boomers, 82% of boomer travel is leisure focused compared to other generations that often travel for business. 4 to 5 baby boomers belong to at least one social networking site, with Facebook being the most popular choice. I feel like this is a trend in my parents' world or in my mom's world, and all of her friends that fall into that age are all on Facebook now. And then I get calls asking if I've seen what's going on Facebook. Yes, Mom, I see what you see as well. In the planning phases, 1/3 of boomers search online, 1/3 rely on DMO websites, and then 1/5 use visitor guides. What else is here? Only half of boomers book travel online, 41% use laptops, and 9% use smartphones. So what that means is that there's a huge opportunity here for agents such as ourselves. So let's talk about the next market, is the Generation X. So Generation X are the kids of baby boomers. So they are 31 to 50 years old. You really see a spike in multi-generational travel, which we talked about in family travel training group. So multi-generational travel, just to recap, is baby boomer plus Generation X plus a Generation Z, so a 2 to 26-year-old. So about family time in groups, really luxury experiential travel, relax, unwind is what they're looking for. Generation X are still working hard and look for options to work when they travel, and then they want uncomplicated travel is what the research has shown. Profile of a Gen X traveler is they're really into, it's all repeat trends here. So cultural interest, exploration, hungry, food and cuisine, wants a real destination, not a commercial tourism product. Intensively plans leisure travel. They're nature lovers. They're connected during leisure travel and its planning. They are price sensitive and activity seekers. So Generation X are vacation deprived because they work so hard. They're supporting their family. They've survived the recession of 2008 or recovering from it. And they're road trip warriors, meaning quite often Generation X do travel as well within, road trip distances. And they do travel a little bit less than other generations. And it probably is also because Generation X has the Generation Zs that they're raising. They 55% of them book through through an online travel agency. They do look for good deals. They want to go basically anywhere that allows them to explore the outdoors and be active. Family travel, every vacation that they take is family oriented. Um, they do look for a little bit of off the beaten path locations and recommendations from locals as well. They want relaxing because they work so hard. Visiting family, sightseeing, and family play is 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 big. So the most influential also to note is Facebook and Pinterest for this generation, which is different than other generations that we've spoken about in the past, especially Generation Z. So marketing to Gen X, Facebook is huge for them. YouTube also is there. On average, Generation X spends almost 7 hours per week on social media sites. That's almost an hour more than the millennials, believe it or not. 2 out of 3 Generation Xers consider themselves to be food and cuisine driven travelers. I would say I definitely fall into that bucket as a Generation X. I am all about food and wine. Their family-friendly destinations are top choices for Generation X. 82% of Generation Xers books their trip online, so we need to start capturing some of that market, you guys. And the ease of making changes to travel plans is important to 97% of Generation Xers, as much as a higher percentage. It's a much higher percentage than other generations. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the segments of a luxury traveler. So there is still that absolute luxury. As you can see in this photo, posh, probably a Kardashian aircraft with the champagne and the nice lacquered wood finishings and leather seats. But so they want the best of everything. They'll always be this type of traveler: the hotel, transport, dining. They want private transportation in black cars and limos right to the aircraft. Price is never an issue for these people. It's a like just huge. There is no budget. It's whatever it costs. They probably all have Amex Black cards, but they're still looking for value and exclusive experiences. So they want to know what they're paying for. It still serves value. So even though this ticket might be $10,000, the value to them is that they get these nice seats, comfy seats, more private setting on an aircraft, champagne and other goodies, and probably caviar as well. So absolute luxury still exists. There's still people out there that want it. But there's also other segments of the luxury traveler as well. So another luxury travel segment is the aspiring luxury travel. So these are the people like the baby boomers and the Generation X's that are confident that they can afford everything that they need and want. So they don't want the fancy business class and all that kind of stuff. What they want, they're confident that they can afford. So there's never an aspiring need that they feel like they can't get when they travel. Again, repeat trend here is experiences curated by personal preferences. In this case, you can see the photo here and what that means. Quality, though, is still valued by the aspiring luxury traveler. So they still do want quality. They don't want to be backpacking in hostels and, taking buses and all that kind of stuff and not knowing where they're going next. But it's more about the experience for the aspiring luxury traveler. Okay. And then the third and final segment of a luxury traveler is accessible luxury. So it's very similar to aspiring. It's all about experience, enrichment, enjoyment, and education. They don't have the budget of the first luxury traveler that we went over. So they don't have the absolute luxury budget. But they're still looking for the experience, enrichment, enjoyment, and education, and time to appreciate surroundings at a price that represents value for money. So in the training session that I took on this, they gave the example of a 5-star Michelin food stall in Singapore for the $5 braised chicken that would have been scoffed at 10 years ago is now looked at as an immersive destination experience. And luxury. So you can still have, the Michelin experience and not be paying the absolute luxury prices. So another example of this is Love Mexico. We were at Hotel Xcaret, and one of my bucket list items was to eat in a Michelin restaurant by a Michelin chef. And of course, in North America, you'd be saving your money for a while, and then to find somebody that also wanted to share that experience with you and invest in that experience is also hard to not do it alone. And then a perfect example of this is that few of us decided to invest in the restaurant at Hotel Xcaret, which was run by a Michelin chef, designed by a Michelin chef, and the only Michelin chef in Mexico. So I was still able to get my Michelin star dining 7-course meal with wine pairings all included for a more affordable price than that absolute luxury experience you would get elsewhere. So to kind of put this more into perspective, this can also mean like a nice villa with a pool overlooking the ocean, drinking rum and coke and eating cold pizza. Glamping in the Sahara. Luxury travel could be Tofino surf trip. So it's not just camping trip and bus rides anymore. You can stay at nice beachside resorts, but still get out and enjoy what Tofino is all about. It's river cruises. Now, Lori just took a multi-generational trip on a river cruise with Lily, who's 4, almost 5, her sister-in-law, Andy, her husband, and her mother-in-law. So river cruises is all about seeing villages and ports not accessible by ocean cruises or standard travel itineraries, experiencing cultural and culinary activities. And it's still, you know, not that absolute luxury kind of price tag. So the travel styles of the luxury traveler, they're really looking for customized and private vacations, which is showing the highest growth in the industry. Adventure and safari, culinary travel is also really high growth. Small cruise and river ships, small group journeys, which is showing the largest in revenue. Of course, group travel is very lucrative in that way. And then celebrations, special events, anniversaries, all that kind of stuff. So those kind of are the main travel styles of the luxury traveler. And then within that, you can have like the absolute luxury as profile as we talked about, or the more accessible one as well. So some key to success for this market is listen. So when people are spending money to travel, they want to be heard and they want what they want. So sit down with a client or arrange a phone call so you can really get a full picture of what they expect for their trip. Another thing is patience. Patience, selling the luxury segment requires a lot of patience because these trips tend to be more than just a week-long stay at an all-inclusive somewhere, and you need to make sure that you have enough time to dedicate to these clients. Travel agents, you do need to be ready to spend a lot of time preparing client quotes, which requires close attention to intricate details. And make sure you'll be able to drop what you are doing to answer the phone anytime they call. Focus on the experience, and we've talked about this many times. So when talking about accommodations, features, and amenities, it's always important asking them what's on their wish list as far as excursions or bucket list items go. Show them that they can accomplish all of the things that they will make their vacation a more memorable experience. And then know what you're selling. Knowing your product goes very far in this market behind destination knowledge. So connecting with even something as simple as connecting with a general manager or concierge can result in personalized welcomes for your clients, which can sometimes is worth way more than any extra amenity you can offer. And then sell what's hot. They want what's up and coming in destinations and experiences and suppliers. So look at those lists that we provided in previous sessions as well and sell what is hot. So some resources for travel, I can't reiterate enough, our Ensemble portal. It has a list of all of our preferred suppliers. So I've done a little snapshot here. So you can just simply type in a word under their suppliers. Search list of supplier tab is right here. And then you punch in a word luxury, and they found 70 results of suppliers with the tagline luxury that are in the preferred supplier list of Ensemble. Culinary was another one, and they found 10 suppliers. And then in that list, you can click on the suppliers, learn about them. And then you just get your resources from the suppliers. Let the suppliers do the work for you in telling you about their products so that you can sell it to your clients. There is a plethora of information out there, right at your fingertips. You can type in cycle, wine, anything, and descriptions will come up. I've also got a training session recommended on your training list for Ensemble on how to navigate the portal, but also on their luxury suppliers, where you'll learn a little bit more about them, and things that you would never even thought are available with suppliers are out there. So I really do highly encourage you to take some time to get to know that. And in Ensemble, I've got a little snapshot here of the different resources here. So this is a webinar I was actually just talking about, today's luxury experience and Ensemble's preferred partners. So do watch that. It is on your checklist. But this is a little snapshot of everything that Ensemble has, where you can get to know all of the unique suppliers that offer these type of things. So you're not just grasping at straws and trying to find who does what. Use Ensemble search function, and it's right at your fingertips. So just in summary, at the end of the day, the truth is that luxury may be crystal champagne, it may be 1,000 thread count Egyptian cotton sheets and Gulfstream private jets. It may even mean a higher price tag, and let's face it, luxury travel is rife with celebrities and billionaires, but there's really so much more to it than this. Luxury travel should be understood for what it is. It's diverse, filled with extraordinary offerings, laden with possibilities, and above all, a form of travel where experience reigns supreme and lifelong memories are created. Thank you so much for your time today, and have a great day.